Good morning, everyone, and this is once again Dr. Rommel Emasaron to present to you our new lesson about Singapore. From the College of Industrial Technology, Batangas State University, JPLPC Malvar National Engineering University. So let's start now the presentation of our lesson for today. So we have the history and background of Singapore. So we have here history and background of Singapore. Singapore is a unitary parliamentary democracy based on the Western Minister model. The president is head of the state until 1991. The largely ceremonial post of the president was filled by parliamentary election, but in that year the constitution was amended to allow for the year direct popular election of the president and for presidential powers to be expanded. The unicameral parliament consists of 94 members, of whom 84 are elected and 10 are appointed to terms up to 5 years. And let's proceed to the people and population of Singapore. Singaporeans or Singaporean people refers to the citizen or people who identify with the city-state of Singapore. Singapore is a multi-ethnic, multicultural, and multilingual country. And Singaporeans or Chinese, Malay, and Indian and Eurasian descent have made up the vast majority of the population since the 19th century. Singaporean nationality law governs modern Singaporean citizenship and nationality. The population shows great ethnic, linguistic, and cultural and religious diversity. Within this diversity, a significant distinction is made for administrative purposes between indigenous peoples, including Malays, collectively called Bumiputra, and immigrant populations, primarily Chinese and South Asians, called non-Bumiputra. The religion of Singapore. Religion of Singapore. The most followed religion in Singapore is Buddhism, with 31.1% of the resident population declaring themselves as the adherent at the most recent census in 2020. A large majority of Buddhists in Singapore are Chinese, with 40.4% of the ethnic Chinese population in Singapore declaring themselves as Buddhist at the most recent census also in 2020. The most exciting part of the study of the history and background of this country is, of course, the currency. The currency of Singapore is known as Singapore dollar. As you can see, the pictures of Singapore dollar, same as the Philippine money that you can see, there are people in the paper bill. Okay, but you know the history of different people, they reflected in the paper bill. So those are people who have contributed a lot in the development and growth economy of each country, with different value of each paper bill. Again, the currency of Singapore is known as Singapore dollar. Very important also to know and learn about the industries in Singapore. Since the late 1960s, Singapore has pursued a general policy of export-oriented industrialization. In order to attract foreign investment, the economy was liberalized and a series of incentives were provided to multinational corporations. Chief among these was the establishment of free trade zones. Gradually, the product or production has been diversifying from such labor-intensive industries as textiles to high technology activities like the manufacture of electronics and precision equipment, and oil refining, which yield a much higher added value to production. Primary production remains important in the country is a major producer of rubber and palm oil, exports considerable quantities of petroleum and natural gas. It is one of the world's largest sources of commercial hardwoods. Increasingly, however, Malaysia has emphasized export-oriented manufacturing to fuel its economic growth. Learning the history and background and details about Singapore literature comprises collection of literary works by Singaporeans. It is written chiefly in the country's four official languages known as English, Malay, Standard Mandarin, and Tamil. While Singaporean literary works may be considered as also belonging to the literature of their specific languages, the literature of Singapore is viewed as a distinct body of literature portraying various aspects of Singapore's society and forms a significant part of a culture of Singapore. And now let us start having one selection or literary works from Singapore. So entitled Grandfather's Story by Catherine Lim. So we are going to analyze this story written by Catherine Lim using our elements of short story. So I'll be giving you 10 to 15 minutes reading before we're going to present your individual understanding on the elements of short story written by Catherine Lim. Alright.